Good afternoon, everyone. It's Nifa Menon from hearthealthbrainhealth.com, encouraging healthy grieving and mindful actions. Today on my mind and my morning contemplative time was very much the ideas of unity consciousness. And for those of you who have watched me for a little bit of time, you know that I love the idea of looking at similarities between different people, different cultures, different religions. This is my one of my passions. And what I love seeing about this is so often there is a connection when we finally get to the end of everything that we're learning from all sorts of spiritual teachers. We recognize that it all comes to love. And you know how much I love talking about love. So today, my contemplative time led me to the Sermon on the Mount. And some of you might know of this famous speech by Jesus Christ. And I thought I would just let you know a little bit of detail from that. I think if I was to summarize it, I think it was put very well. It addresses one's attitude, it addresses worship, it addresses relationships, and it addresses material possessions. And it's interesting, right? So those are some of the things, and that was from the Sermon on the Mount. And then, of course, here I am contemplating similarities and unity, right? So I came across this beautiful quotation by Lord Krishna. And this quotation says, "Do everything you have to do, but not with greed, not with ego, not with lust, not with envy, but with love, compassion, and devotion." And isn't that beautiful? And then I think, wow, isn't that the same detail? Like if we were looking at it carefully, they're actually saying very much the same thing. And if you ever look at my playlist about the Bhagavad Gita, you'll see that all of these details of, we'll say even the golden rule, it all comes to the same. We'll see that in most spirituality, this is the common theme of there are certain things, certain ways to behave. It's a mannerism. It's a lifestyle choice. It's not really specific commandments, though many religions will make it very specific that way. Then we get lost in details as opposed to the essence. If we think about doing things from love, there's an essence to that, which is, again, not any of these things, right? Now, some people love money, right? And you can love from that place and it will be limited. And that's what I would encourage you to notice about all of these details that I mentioned. This quotation basically is talking about the things that are limited when there is infinite love, right? So when we come from this space of infinity, when we come from this place of never ending, this is just so abundant, right? This is the space that is not related to ego with lust, with greed or envy. You know how some people will love to do the profession that they want to do because they really like that someone else was doing it. And no two people will be the exact same in whatever profession, right? But the love that a person puts into their dedication, their devotion to a profession or a life or an experience or a communication is very unique to the individual's intention and discipline. So I loved noticing that. And of course, since I was thinking about that, what would be the next quotation that came up was by Mahatma Gandhi. And this quotation, I really loved how he combined exactly the thoughts that I was thinking. So he said, "What the sermon describes in a graphic manner, the Bhagavad Gita describes, reduces to a scientific formula." So I'll say that again. What the sermon, this is the Sermon on the Mount, describes in a graphic manner, the Bhagavad Gita reduces to a scientific formula. And isn't that amazing? And you would think, how is it possible? Like, how could you live all of these virtues that are talked about, or vices that were talked about? And how do you live this from a scientific perspective? And you can. They both do coexist very nicely. And remember, this is my passion to look at things that are more similar than different, right? And there's a lot of similarities. And if we get the essence, we'll see in most of the areas that we can look from, it's love, it's love, it's love, and it's complete, genuine, altruistic, authentic love. And that is a beautiful place to come from. I'm sure if you have experienced it or you have expressed it without any sort of ego attachment to it, you know what a beautiful place that is. And so then I came across one more quote that I wanted to share with you. And this, to me, really defines how I think of love. And I suspect if you've experienced it, you know it too. And you only have to sit and reflect to see how this feels. This says, true love cannot be found where it does not exist, nor can it be denied where it does. True love cannot be found where it does not exist, nor can it be denied where it does. And this is by Torquato Tasso. And I haven't heard of this author before, but let me tell you, I think it's so well said because so many of us search for something loving, right? And whether people look for it in a relationship, maybe people look for it in a profession, maybe people look for it from their family, wherever it is, when we're searching for it, you don't have to search for it. True love just is, right? It just is. It's so evident. It's felt, it's experienced, right? And of course, you will bring that experience to you if you can start from that space yourself, because similar vibrations will find you. And I want to leave you with that perspective and see whether you're able to function from that true love space. And you know, for me, this loving, genuine, pure space also involves some humor. So I have to leave you with this quotation that I came across. I don't know who it's by, but it said, bad attitude. Now, remember when I first talked about the Jesus Sermon on the Mount, I talked about it addresses one's attitude, right? So I wanted to tie it together with this quotation. And it says, a bad attitude is like a flat tire. You can't go anywhere until you change it. And isn't that true? So if you know someone or you are someone who has a not good attitude, I'll say, you'll see it will attract more of that to you. And if you've got it, you know that it has to change for you to get anywhere. And you will see this, and it's very easy to see it in the people around us, isn't it? It's always easier to look at it objectively at someone else. But when we're knowing thyself, knowing ourselves, we can see it when it's within ourselves. So today, I would love for you to reflect on that with a little bit of humor, because if you have a bad attitude, I do want you to work on changing it. And I'm here to help if you need me. So until then, I hope you'll reflect on some of the things from this video. And I hope you remember, transform your mind and transform your life. Have a great day, everyone.